Alright everybody, RMJ Movie Reviews back again. Today I'm going to do a DVD review of the horror film that came out earlier, I think it was a couple of months ago, early in the spring. Wolf Creek 2, starring John Jarrett, a famous Australian character actor. Let's move on. Wolf Creek 2 basically tells the story of Mick Taylor, you know, the one-lining sociopathic serial killer from Wolf Creek. He's back again to terrorize some more traveling hikers across the Australian outback. You know, two backpackers unfortunately become a foul of him, and then they meet their fate, and then there's another guy who attempts to rescue one of the backpackers, and then he kind of becomes the object of Mick's bloodthirst, because he kind of ruined his previous attack. And basically the rest of the film is kind of a cat and mouse between just some lonely guy who's traveling across Australia and Mick, and thus ensues Wolf Creek 2. You know, I like horror films, of course. Like I've said in numerous other videos, you know, I'm a big fan of kind of the slasher pictures of kind of the 70s, the 80s, and sprinkles of the ones that came throughout the 90s, and kind of sprinkles of the ones that came in the 2000s. But I like the genre. You know, I'm okay with, you know, Halloween horror suspense, and then I'm okay with, you know, balls to the wall, Grindhouse, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then I like, you know, stuff like the Hills Have Eyes remake and those kind of things too. I was not a fan of the original Wolf Creek. I remember seeing that film when I was actually attending Wright State. I worked at a movie theater at Regal Cinemas when I was living in Dayton, Ohio, and that film actually came out Christmas Day. I remember Ebert and Roper being pretty depressed by the film. They thought it was kind of a misogynistic, voyeuristic kind of view of basically this guy who just tortures and maims these two girls, and then the film kind of ends. I kind of felt when I first saw Wolf Creek, because I actually, when I got off work and I was working at the movie theater when it came out Christmas Day, I actually just went into the theater and watched it, and I kind of agree with the people who don't like the film. It kind of has this whole, it had a whole fake attitude of like, this is going to be a serious, this is what Richard Roper had kind of explained in his review, had it kind of, it's paced like this is a arty, serious film, and it's really, really slow, the first film, and then it kind of jumps out, and you know, you don't realize that this guy's a psychopath. You know, something ain't right, but at least to me, I had never heard the film before, so I didn't know that he was going to become what he ultimately became in the movie. The only, I think, positive aspect I could even say about Wolf Creek, the original, was the fact that I liked the cinematography. I like kind of that little eerie music that like every wannabe imitation 70s grindhouse movies using now, where it kind of goes, and then you see like desolate landscape. The only thing I like was John Jarrett's performance, because he kind of plays it like like you would think a real psychopath would be. You know, he kind of plays it, that chameleon thing of like, oh, I'm a friendly guy, and then he turns on you, and then he, you know, he's this psychopathic killer. Only scene I really I can't really so much say I like it, but I thought it was very well done, was the scene where, you know, he's kind of mentally and physically torturing the girl. You know, I thought that scene was pretty horrific, and I thought it was very well done. The rest of the film I just thought was a complete waste of time. And I can pretty much say the same thing about this one. This one doesn't have that grittiness like that scene from the first film. It touches it a little bit, but this is kind of more of a more, you can tell from the beginning that, I mean, there's more car chases, there's a little bit of kind of Mad Max Warrior, Steven Spielberg duel kind of thing thrown into the mix, with him chasing people with trucks and they're flying over hills and all that kind of stuff. And you know, it's really honestly just more of the same. The only thing that I can even commend the movie on is John Jarrett's performance. John Jarrett, he does, this time he kind of cracks more one-liners, and they're kind of going more for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 kind of style of black humor, and you know, how Freddy Krueger became in later movies in the 80s with cracking one-liners and all that kind of stuff. That's the only thing I can really say that I really thought was good about it was John Jarrett's performance, because there's kind of scenes in this movie where he kind of, so much when he's cracking one-liners, they're funny and they're silly and they're goofy, but I like really more of the scenes where he's not really saying anything and he kind of just, he'll do like a look with his face, he'll kind of just stare at somebody and he'll kind of frown, and you're not really sure, you can kind of look at him and tell that right then when he's doing that facial expression, he's deciding how he's gonna dispatch you in the most gruesome way fashion. I mean, he's a sick character, man. But John Jarrett plays it to the T. The only new thing I can say about this one is there is a cool scene in here where and I'm not giving anything anyway. I mean, we've all seen these movies 100 times. They're all the same. We keep coming back as horror fans because we like them. But there's a scene where he eventually captures this guy, and the guy's like so out of it and scared that he kind of starts doing this bizarre kind of singing, and then he kind of catches Mick off guard for a minute, and Mick kind of starts singing with him, and then there's like this kind of psychological verbal play where they're going back and forth, and the guy's basically trying to fight his way out of Mick's lair. I thought that scene was pretty well done. At first I wasn't buying it because I didn't really like the guy who was the captor, but I thought as the scene progressed, because it's a long scene, I think it went on for like 10 minutes I think, or 11 minutes, but I thought it was very well played between the two. And then when kind of Mick kind of goes and he pulls out the knife and all that kind of stuff, I thought the scene kind of lost steam because it kind of went back into what we expect. But I do like that verbal play between the two in that scene. I thought that was pretty good. And I thought the finale was a little bit different when you actually got to see the inside of Mick's lair, which is pretty much what you would expect, you know, dead bodies and people dispatched and bound and tied and tongues hanging out of their mouth and all that kind of crazy stuff. So I didn't care much for Wolf Creek 2. I just wanted to check it out just to see where they would go with the story, which is pretty much nowhere except for a really good third act. The car chases are great, you know, but again, it's just more of the same. The only reason to watch this is just John Jarrett's hammy psychopathic performance. That's really the only good thing I can say about it. You know, the guy's a good actor. I looked at the special features and I was kind of surprised at watching his interview. It shows how brilliant actors can be, because he's a very calm and mellow man, and to see a mellow man be that calm and then to go into, you know, strapping girls to the ground and, you know, ripping their panties off with a knife is pretty extraordinary. So Wolf Creek 2, I'd only recommend it to people who are really big fans of the first film, which that would not be me, so that's probably why I just said what I said in the review. So, but again, if you guys who are horror fans just want to see, you know, kind of more of gratuitous, you know, sexual assault and gratuitous, you know, severing of limbs and heads and guts and blood splatter, then by all means check out Wolf Creek 2. If there's somebody else who actually wants to see a gore fest that can bring something new and different, you know, I'd say stay away from it. Or if you're just a fan of John Jarrett and just how he performs this role, then you might want to check it out for that. But again, just another addition to the slew of you know, sadist cinema that's kind of been going straight to DVD now. So that's my review of Wolf Creek 2. Like I said, if you guys like that kind of thing, check it out. If you hated the first one, you're gonna hate this one too. Alright, I don't know what my next movie review is gonna be. I think my next video might just be a general discussion. So alright guys, thanks for listening, tuning in. Please, if you like horror films, 80s horror films, leave some comments below. We can talk about Wolf Creek 2, John Jarrett's performance, or whatever. Alright, RMJ Movie Reviews. Thanks. Bye-bye.